Midtown Pharmacy. Register for 11:48 p.m. Store number, last 4 digits, 3 units. I was in my husband's car in our Park Avenue garage. The concrete slick with slush, the air smelling like cold metal and his cedar cologne. A strip of black receipt paper was wedged in the door pocket like someone meant to keep it, just not where a wife would look. My heart kicked once. Then it didn't. No tears, no scenes, just proof. I lifted my phone, snapped a photo under the dome light, store number clean, flash off, then refolded the receipt along its original crease and slid it back, the same quarter-inch showing. Chain of custody keeps me alive. On the back seat, his leather weekender sat half-zipped. I slid a finger into the side pocket and felt paper. A printed itinerary, ink fresh, creases sharp, not Boston. JFK to Miami. Departure, tomorrow. Return, open. My stomach went cold. Not from shock, more like recognition. 11:48 p.m., 3 units. Miami, open return, the glove box open with a soft click, 3 unopened foil packets rested on top of the insurance card. Neat, untouched, quiet. My throat tightened. I swallowed and kept my breathing small. Keys scraped, footsteps. Ev? Grant's voice was close now, casual. You in there? I shut the glove box, smoothed my face, and stepped out like I'd been hunting for a charger. Yeah, I said. My headphones fell under the seat. He barely looked up from his phone. Drivers at 4:30. Boston, long day, don't wait up. Of course, I said, and let him hear what he wanted. In the lobby, Luis held the elevator. Evening, Miss Mercer, he said. Then to Grant. Traveling again, sir? Boston, Grant answered fast. Luis's eyes flicked to mine, one quiet second, and he kept the doors open a beat longer. Safe travels, he said, like a statement for the record. Upstairs, Grant called from the kitchen. Sushi? Sure, I said, and walked into my study. My MacBook was open to a risk memo. I created a new encrypted folder and dropped the photos inside. Receipt first, itinerary second, time-stamped, untouched. The slip was leaving the paper receipt on my desk while I opened the airline email. Our accounts were still linked because Grant hated admin. He drifted into the doorway with chopsticks and that half-smile he uses for donors. You working again? He asked. Just finishing, I said, and slid a notebook over the receipt without looking down. He leaned on the frame. Back Bay Hotel. Same place. I'll call when I land. Send me the address, I said light. So I don't ship your suit to the wrong city? His laugh came out a little sharp. Already handled. My phone buzzed. Subject line. Your itinerary has been updated. JFK to Miami. From the kitchen. Wasabi or no? No wasabi, I called back, voice even. Another buzz, message preview, one line, not meant for me. Landing late, same room as last time. My stomach dropped, not because of the words, because of how routine they sounded. I locked my screen, opened my notes, and typed 4 words. Preserve, verify, pattern, then act. If I confronted him now, he'd call it paranoia. He'd freeze the joint account. He'd whisper to my HR that I was unstable. Grant had leverage, I had paper. His work trip had already cracked. Now I just needed it to break clean. I didn't sleep. I lay on my side with my phone face down on the nightstand, listening to Grant's breathing settle into the slow, confident rhythm of someone who believes tomorrow belongs to him. Every few minutes, the airline email replayed in my head. JFK. Miami. Open return. I wasn't heartbroken yet. I was suspended. Like the second before a fall, when your body hasn't decided whether to scream or land. At 4:21 a.m., his alarm went off. Grant moved fast. Shower, cufflinks, the navy suit he saves for clients. He kissed my forehead like a stamped form. Back Bay, he said again, testing the lie. Text me when you land, I said. The apartment door closed. The lock slid home. I counted to 10, not because I needed calm, because I needed timing. I opened my laptop and pulled up the airline account. 2 minutes later, a notification landed. Seat change confirmed. Gate information updated. MIA. That was the first clean piece of the morning. Digital. Time-stamped. No feelings attached. I exported the itinerary as a PDF and saved it to the encrypted folder. Receipt, itinerary, sequence. Then I made coffee and stood at the window facing Park Avenue, watching the city wake up. Yellow cabs. Joggers who believed discipline was a shield. Couples who still thought mornings meant truth. The pain arrived sideways, not as sobs, more like pressure behind my ribs. The quiet realization that my life had been negotiated without me, line by line, like a contract I never signed. At 6:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. Bank alert. Corporate card transaction posted. I didn't open it right away. I stood there and breathed until my hands were steady. This mattered. If I rushed, I'd contaminate the moment. The charge was from a hotel bar in Miami Beach. 2 cocktails, 1 room key swipe. Posted 12:11 a.m. Eastern. The bar tab was authorized earlier. My bank only posted it after midnight. But the location was the point. Miami. He hadn't even left New York yet. I sat down hard. This wasn't just a lie. It was a timeline collision. One of my favorites. When stories trip over themselves and fall into evidence. I screenshotted the alert. Then I didn't forward it. Forwarding creates noise. Screenshots create records. I pulled the policy manual from my memory like a reflex. Preserve? Don't access. Document? Don't interrogate. My phone buzzed again. Grant, boarding now, he said. Wi-Fi's bad. Talk later. His voice was relaxed, fond, even. That hurt more than anger would have. Safe flight, I said, and ended the call first. By 9, I was walking through Midtown with my coat buttoned high, moving the way I do when I don't want to be seen. I wasn't following him. I wasn't chasing anyone. I was building a perimeter. The law firm sat above a Pilates studio and below a hedge fund. Neutral ground, clean lines, good sign. She didn't ask me how I felt, she asked me what I had. I laid it out on the table in order. The receipt, the itinerary, the airline update, the card alert. No adjectives, no commentary. Her pen paused. You did this correctly, she said. You didn't touch his accounts. You didn't confront him. You didn't tip him off. I don't want a scene, I said. I want an outcome. She nodded once. Then we moved quietly. She explained the risks in a voice that never softened. Defamation if I accused without proof. Retaliation if he froze assets. Reputational exposure if he framed instability. I listened. I already knew most of it. But knowing and hearing are different things. When I stood to leave, she added, if there's a pattern, we protect assets first, not feelings. Outside, the city felt louder, sharper. I checked my phone. Another message preview slid in. Landing early, same place. No name, no punctuation, familiarity without affection. I didn't reply. I didn't screenshot it either. Not yet. I walked 3 blocks before it hit me. This wasn't happening to me. This was being done around me. That thought flipped something inside my chest. The pain didn't vanish. It focused, like a lens snapping into place. Back home, I opened the encrypted folder again and added a new note. Hypothesis. This isn't a one-off. Test. Expenses plus travel plus repetition. I set a calendar reminder for 48 hours. No sooner. Patterns need room. My phone buzzed once more. A different alert this time. Unusual activity detected. Attempted login, new device. He was already moving. I smiled just a little. Not because he was cheating, because he was scared, and fear makes people sloppy. I closed the laptop and finally sat on the couch, the quiet settling in like dust. This wasn't the moment to cry. This was the moment to wait. Unusual activity detected, new device. The alert sat on my lock screen. Grant's side of the bed was untouched. I kept my voice steady and my notes cleaner. I called the number on the back of our travel card. A phone call becomes a case number. A case number becomes paper. Account security, a woman answered. Evelyn Mercer. Primary holder. New device login attempt. Device type and location. We can't disclose. Fraud desk, I said. Or give me the case number and note the refusal. A transfer click. Fraud, a man said. He asked for the last 4 digits and read from his screen. New iPhone, he said. IP geolocation Miami Beach, 5:12 a.m. Eastern. That wasn't him. That was someone already in Miami. Boston was a costume. Miami was the body underneath. You want us to lock the account, he asked. Lock new devices, I said. Add a verbal passphrase. Call me for resets. Email the full log line. A beat, then a small chuckle. You sound like you do this for work. I do, I said. I just didn't expect to do it in my own bedroom. I saved the email into my encrypted folder and typed one line. Miami attempt confirms presence. I almost crossed the line right after. I opened the airline app and my thumb drifted toward managed trip. Useful and suddenly questionable. I locked the phone. Proof that can't be used is just pain with better lighting. By 10, I was in the Park Avenue lobby, face calm, coat buttoned. Luis held the door. Morning, Miss Mercer, he said. Morning, I answered. His voice dropped. Mr. Hale's driver came at 4:30. Black SUV. He checked a leather weekender with the porter. A thin ache pressed behind my ribs. 4:30 meant he left before daylight and before neighbors. I asked too fast. Who signed him out? Luis lifted an eyebrow. I corrected myself. Who does policy say I should speak to? He tilted his chin toward the management office. Without counsel, they'll smile and tell you no. I went anyway. That was the misstep. The property manager didn't offer a seat. Cameras are private, she said. We release with law enforcement or an attorney request. I'm not asking for copies, I said. I'm asking you to preserve lobby and garage footage, last night and this morning. Email from counsel, she replied. Specific times. I nodded. Who should the letter be addressed to? She handed me a card, smile fixed. Outside, I called my attorney from a corner by a coffee cart. Preservation letter to my building, I said. Lobby, garage, access logs, today. Send the contact, she said. I'll draft. Don't poke the bear in the meantime. I already did, I said. The bear has perfect teeth. At 3:47 p.m., the letter hit my inbox. Dry, precise, all dates and verbs. I walked back into the lobby with my phone in my hand and my feelings locked down. Louise opened the elevator without asking. The manager's door was open now. She held the letter. We'll comply. We can confirm logs. Footage is retained 30 days. Indefinitely, I said. Her smile twitched. We'll preserve what's requested. One page slid across the desk. Grant's fob, 4:31 a.m. garage door. Guest badge issued 10:52 p.m. Requested by S. Vale. The times didn't fit a flight. They fit a handoff. My stomach dropped, slow and heavy. I thought of his forehead kiss at the door. The way he said Boston, like a promise. My chest tightened. My voice didn't. S. Val, I said flat. That's what the concierge note says, she replied. I took a photo of the page in front of her. Clean, no sneaking. Back in the lobby, Luis waited with a thick cream business card. Left for Mr. Hale, he said. She asked if he'd be back Sunday. Serena Vale, Vale AR. On the back, in sharp handwriting, same room, don't be late. I set Serena's card on my kitchen counter like it might stain the stone. The message on the back, same room, don't be late, sat in my head like a timer. My brain did what it always does when something breaks. It tried to make it clean. Letters, dates, a file name that could hold the weight. I didn't argue. I archived. I took a photo of the front and back with my phone, then another with the card next to today's newspaper on the table. Stupid, old school, but time is a witness when people aren't. I dropped the images into the encrypted folder and typed a note. Card delivered to building. Handwritten message. Doorman source. Then I sat down because my knees decided to be human. The pain didn't arrive as heartbreak. It arrived as humiliation. Not the he chose someone else kind. The quieter one, realizing I'd been managing our life like a system, believing I was the lock, while he treated me like background noise. I stood up fast, angry at my own softness, and went to my study. MacBook open, not my work device, my personal one. My job doesn't forgive mistakes, and Grant would love nothing more than to turn me into the headline, Bank Compliance Officer Spirals Over Marriage. I typed Val PR into a search bar and immediately erased it. That was my reflex. Tiny, automatic, the kind that leaves a trail if you're unlucky. I reopened in a private window and searched again, slower, like I was handling glass. The website loaded clean and expensive. White space, neutral fonts, a list of partners who all looked like they belonged on panels. At the bottom, a recent post. Miami, private hospitality experience, client confidential. My throat tightened. Same city, same timing, same ease. I clicked contact and stopped with my cursor hovering over the email. If I sent anything, it became a conversation. Conversations turn into games. I didn't want a game. I wanted a record. I called my attorney instead. I have a name, I said. Send it, she replied. I texted the photos of the card through the secure link she'd set up. 2 minutes later, she called back. Do not contact her, she said. If she senses you, she'll delete everything she can. She already writes like she owns the calendar, I said, staring at the words "Gam." Don't be late. My attorney didn't laugh. That handwriting is a gift. It's an identifier. We'll use it. I swallowed. What's the next clean step? We tie her to money, she said. Not feelings. Money. I stared at my bookshelf. A spine of tax binders. A row of blue folders labeled like habits. I'd always been the one who filed. I can't access his business accounts, I said. Don't, she answered. But you can gather what's in your possession. Household mail, shared statements, anything addressed to you. Anything you can document without trespassing. My phone buzzed with another alert. Delivery, lobby, signature required. Grant had a habit. He shipped things to the building when he didn't want them traced to the apartment. I buttoned my coat with hands that wanted to shake and didn't. In the elevator, I caught my reflection in the mirrored panel. Hair smooth, face calm, eyes not calm at all. Luis looked up when I stepped into the lobby. Package came, he said like he'd been waiting. For Mr. Hale, signature required. Who signed? I asked, too sharp. He didn't blink. No one yet. I held it. He slid a slim FedEx envelope across the desk. Heavy paper, overnight label, sender in the corner. Vale PR LLC. My chest went tight and hollow at the same time. Luis didn't look at it. He looked at me. You want me to log it? Yes, I said, and my voice came out level enough to scare even me. Date and time. And that it was held at my request. He reached for the ledger. Miss Mercer, he said quietly, I don't take sides. I take notes. A laugh tried to come out of me and failed. It turned into a breath. I'm not asking for a side, I told him. I'm asking for accuracy. He wrote, careful, then turned the book so I could see. Time, date, envelope description. I took a photo of the ledger entry. Then I took a photo of the envelope, front and back, the sender, the tracking number, the weight, the signature line blank. I did not open it. That part hurt more than opening it would have. Control always costs something. Back upstairs, my phone rang. Grant. I watched it ring twice before I answered, because timing matters. Hey, he said, warm like he was calling from a normal life. Made it to Boston. Meetings are a nightmare. Are they? I said softly. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I replied, and let the silence sit between us like a glass on a white tablecloth. He cleared his throat. Listen, can you handle a delivery for me? It's just paperwork. I looked at the FedEx envelope on my counter. Vale PR LLC signature required. Already handled, I said. His exhale was tiny, but I heard it. Relief first, then caution. Great, he said, don't open it. I smiled, slow and private. I wouldn't dream of it, I said. When we hung up, a new email slid into my inbox. Subject line blunt enough to make my stomach drop. Invoice attached, strategy package due today. And the sender name was the same as the envelope on my counter. The subject line hit my inbox like a gavel. Invoice attached, strategy package, due today. Serena's card sat on my counter beside Grant's coffee mug and the sealed FedEx envelope. The kitchen was quiet enough to hear the refrigerator cycle. I didn't chase him. I traced him. I opened the email on my laptop. Vale PR LLC, PDF attached, $48,000. 3 line items politely vague. Strategy package, monthly, on-site hospitality coordination, travel support, client confidential. Miami without the word Miami. Curiosity nearly got me. A blue button at the top, view online. I clicked. A login page popped up with a spinning wheel that felt like a trap. Anything that could later become. She accessed my accounts. I closed it immediately, reopened the PDF offline, saved it into my encrypted folder, then forwarded the file through my attorney's secure link. She called me back in under a minute. Do not reply, she said. Do not pay, and stop clicking. I stopped, I said. Fast. Good, she said. One mistake is a bruise, repeating it is a fracture. My throat tightened. Due today, I reminded her. Then we control the pipe, she said. If he pays her through a joint path, you tighten controls without accusing anyone. Dual authorization on wires, new payee review, frame it as risk management. Normal words, abnormal life. I dressed like a workday, hair pinned, coat buttoned, face neutral, and walked to our bank. Moving kept the humiliation from spreading. Daniel, my relationship manager, led me into a glass office. I need to adjust controls on our joint accounts, I said. Effective today. He didn't ask why. People in his job learn not to. Dual authorization for outgoing wires over 10,000, I said. And a hold on adding new payees without a confirmation call to my number. Daniel typed, then slid forms across the table. I signed with a steady hand that didn't match my insides. You understand this may inconvenience Mr. Hale, he said carefully. I understand it may prevent fraud, I replied. That's the point. Daniel's eyes flicked up, almost amused. Anything else? Yes, I said. Lock resets to voice verification, my passphrase only. He nodded once like he'd heard that line before. When I stood to leave, he added, if there's a pending wire, it will now require both approvals. You'll get an alert. Back at the building, Luis had his ledger open. Everything okay? He asked, voice low. Everything documented, I said. He gave a small nod. That's a very New York answer. In the elevator, my reflection looked composed. My stomach didn't. The pain pressed behind my ribs, pressure, not release. The kind you carry until you can put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I scanned the signed forms, dropped them into the encrypted folder beside the invoice, and wrote one line. Controls changed. Date, time, contact. My phone rang. Grant again. I let it ring twice before I answered. Not to punish him, to measure him. Hey, he said, warm. Boston's chaos. Can you do me a favor? If you see any payment approvals, just clear them. I'm in and out of meetings. His voice was too casual, too rehearsed. What kind of payments? I asked, soft. Vendors, he said quickly. Admin stuff, you know? I looked at Serena's card on my counter and felt something inside me go quiet and sharp. Of course, I said. Send details. He exhaled, relieved. You're the best. I ended the call first. I wasn't trying to win an argument. I was trying to remove his options. My phone buzzed while I was still standing at the counter. Bank approval required. Outgoing wire, $48,000. Beneficiary, Vale PR LLC. Status, pending. My thumb hovered over approve. I set the phone down. The FedEx envelope stared from the marble like a dare. Then a second notification slid in, smaller, colder. Mr. Hale has requested approval. Outgoing wire, $48,000. Payee, Vial PR LLC. Status pending. Dual authorization required. Close enough to feel the heat, not close enough to get burned. Screenshot first. Timestamp. Battery percentage. The little things people forget until someone in a suit asks for them. I took a second shot after scrolling. Beneficiary details in the blank reason field. No shouting. No pleading. Only receipts. I called my attorney through the secure line. Don't approve. Don't decline, she said. Not yet. I haven't, I replied. I captured it. Good, use workflow. Request documentation. Normal process. Forces a trail. There was an option under the buttons. Request documentation. I typed one line, boring enough to be bulletproof. Please provide vendor agreement and itemized invoice per updated dual authorization controls. Submit. A gray banner appeared. Request sent to initiator. My phone rang 3 minutes later. Grant again. I answered on the second ring. Hey, he said, warmth stretched thin. Why am I getting a request for documentation? It's a vendor payment. Dual authorization, I said. You asked me to clear approvals. I'm clearing them the way I'm required to. A pause. Air conditioning. Muffled voices. Hotel hallway, not a conference room. You changed controls? He asked. I tightened safeguards, I replied. We had a new device login attempt. It would be reckless not to. His exhale sounded like math. Okay, I'll send whatever. Just approve it fast. Send it to my email, I said directly. Another pause. A small edge in his tone. You're making this difficult. I'm making it clean, I replied. He hung up without goodbye. 10 minutes later, an email landed. From Grant Hale, subject Vale PR, agreement, 2 attachments. Invoice, $48,000 due today. Contract signed, dated, confidently shameless. Client Hale Capital Partners. Services, reputation strategy, VIP hospitality coordination, travel accompaniment. Project location, Miami Beach. Serena Val. His signature sat at the bottom like a stamp. My throat tightened so hard it felt like swallowing glass. Humiliation came first, not grief. The quiet kind, watching him turn my marriage into a line item. I almost replied with one sentence. 1. The kind that would feel good for 5 seconds and poison everything. My finger hovered over reply. I stopped. I closed the laptop, walked to the sink, and ran cold water over my wrists until my brain returned to my body. Proof first, feelings later. Back at the desk, I forwarded the email through my attorney's secure link and wrote, signed agreement, Miami stated, Serena named, source email intact. Then I fixed my mistake before it became one. I saved the original message with full headers into the encrypted folder. If he tried to claim forged, metadata would do the talking. My phone buzzed again. Bank notice, new payee added, pending review. Device, new iPhone. Location, Miami Beach. He was moving. Fast. I slid Serena's card into the clear sleeve with the receipt photo, the access log, and the contract. A life reduced to exhibits, neat enough to file. Louise texted me from downstairs. She came back. Asked for Mr. Hale. I logged it. My attorney called right after, voice low and sharp. This is enough to file for an emergency order, she said. If he tries to move assets tonight, we can freeze it. I stared at the bank notice, Miami device, new payee, pending review, and felt something click into place inside my chest. Do it, I said. My attorney filed the emergency motion before sunset. On my screen, the upload bar crawled across the e-filing portal. Affidavit, exhibits, the ledger photo, the access log, the Vale PR invoice, The signed agreement with Miami Beach printed in black ink, the bank alert showing a new payee attempt from a new iPhone in Miami. I let the record do the shouting. Sign exactly as your ID, my attorney said over speaker. Middle initial included. Don't give him an opening. I signed on my iPad, then checked the block twice. Then I nearly contaminated the record. Out of reflex, I forwarded the bank notice to my work email, one swipe, then felt my throat tighten. My employer logs everything. If Grant wanted to smear me, a domestic thread in corporate systems would be a gift. I deleted it immediately, cleared trash, and texted my attorney. Accidental forward, removed, using only secure link. Then I wrote one line in my encrypted folder, no personal evidence on work devices. At 8:11 p.m., my phone buzzed. Court e-filing, documents accepted. A minute later, ex parte request, under review. Waiting is strange when you're built for checklists. My brain kept offering useless tasks, wipe the counter, straighten the mail, like tidiness could change a judge's calendar. Grant called at 9:03. I let it ring twice. Ev, he said, voice careful. The bank's blocking things. I'm trying to move funds for a deal. Risk controls, I said. You had a login attempt from a new device. Travel glitch, he snapped. Miami doesn't glitch, I replied. Silence. Then his tone softened. Don't do this tonight, I'm under pressure. So am I said. I'm just not lying about the city. He exhaled. Did you open the FedEx envelope? No. Good, he said too fast. Don't, it's confidential. Then you shouldn't have routed it through my building, I said. He hung up. At 10:17 p.m., the email arrived. Order signed, temporary restraints granted. I opened it and read the sentence that mattered twice. Neither party shall transfer, encumber, conceal, or dispose of marital assets. Boring language. Heavy effect. My attorney called. We have it. I'm sending it to the bank's legal desk and arranging service. Keep your phone on, don't argue. New York loves verbs, I said, trying for a joke. It loves them in writing, she replied. 2 alerts followed like footsteps. Bank notice. Outgoing wire blocked. Court order review. Payment attempt declined. I screenshotted both, timestamps, headers, everything. My ribs loosened by a fraction. Proof that the floor wouldn't drop out tonight. Luis texted from downstairs, he's back. Elevator to 18, alone, angry. My pulse kicked once, then my hands went steady. I opened my notes app and typed, if he confronts, say nothing, ask for everything in writing. Then I poured a glass of water and set it on the counter. The lock turned. Grant walked in with his coat still on, eyes sharp, jaw tight. He stopped when he saw the sealed FedEx envelope on the counter and the printed court order beside it. What is this? He demanded. I didn't raise my voice. Paper, I said. He reached for the envelope. I slid it away, just out of reach. Not a game. A boundary. Don't touch it, I said. It's evidence now. His eyes snapped to the court header. Color drained from his face in small, precise increments. This is insane, he said, but the word landed thin. I asked for safeguards, I said. A judge agreed. His phone buzzed. He looked down. His shoulders dropped half an inch. Fear. A knock hit the door. 3 quick taps. Grant froze. Luis's voice came muffled through the wood. Miss Mercer, someone's here asking for Mr. Hale. Then a stranger's voice, polite and official. Process server. Grant didn't move when the words landed. Process server. The hallway outside our door went quiet. The kind of quiet makes you aware of your own breathing. My glass of water sat untouched on the counter. The FedEx envelope lay between us like a third person. Luis spoke again, softer. Miss Mercer, he says it's time-sensitive. Grant's eyes flicked to mine, sharp with accusation and something else, calculation, maybe. The same look he uses in boardrooms when a deal turns. I didn't flinch. I didn't explain. Explanation is how people get pulled into arguments they didn't start. I stayed quiet. The evidence wasn't. Let him in, I said, loud enough for the hallway. Grant's jaw tightened. Evelyn. Not tonight, I said, and walked to the door. When I opened it, the man held out a packet with a neutral smile, like he delivered takeout and subpoenas with the same hands. Grant Hale? He asked. Grant stepped forward, posture straightening like pride could block paper. Yes. You've been served, the man said, and placed the packet into Grant's hand. Grant looked down at the cover page. Temporary restraints. Hearing date. Bank. Assets. Words he couldn't charm. His mouth opened and closed once like a fish in shallow water. The process server turned to me. Ma'am, I nodded. Thank you. Luis stayed at the end of the hall like a silent witness, Eyes on the carpet, not on us. He didn't need to watch. He'd already logged the moment. The door clicked shut. Grant's first instinct was to attack the messenger. "This is malicious," he said, voice rising. "You're trying to ruin me." I set my phone on the counter, face up, screen recording on, not because I wanted a fight, but because I wanted a record. In my state, I didn't trust memory. Memory changes shape when people shout. "I'm protecting myself," I said, "and I'm doing it legally." He tossed the packet onto the marble like it offended him. "You don't understand the damage you're causing. My investors, my partners." "I understand damage," I said. My voice stayed calm. "I just don't romanticize it." That landed. His eyes narrowed. "You tightened controls," he said, pointing toward the kitchen. "You blocked a vendor payment. That's interference." "It's dual authorization," I corrected. "It's standard risk control. You told me to clear approvals. I followed policy." "Policy," he spat like the word itself was betrayal. "You love policy more than people." The sentence hit hard because it was almost true. It was why I'd felt safe with him. Because I believed my structure could protect me from his chaos. My chest tightened. Pain flashed. The mornings I made coffee while he scrolled his phone, the dinners I dressed for like appointments, the way he'd kissed my forehead as he lied about Boston, I wanted to scream. I didn't. I reached for the FedEx envelope and slid it toward myself, still sealed. Grant's hand shot out. "Don't." "I wasn't going to open it," I said. "I was going to preserve it." He stared at the envelope like it was a bomb. "That's confidential." "So was my marriage," I said, and watched his face change. There. A crack. He tried another tactic. Softness, then blame. "Ev," he said, lowering his voice, stepping closer like intimacy could erase a judge's signature. "This is misunderstanding. I was in Boston. Miami was logistics, a client thing. You're making stories." I held up my phone and tapped the screen twice. The bank notice, the contract, Miami Beach, Serena Vale, his signature. "I'm not making stories," I said. "I'm filing exhibits." He looked away, jaw working. "You went through my things." "I photographed what was in my possession," I said. "And I requested preservation through counsel. That's what grown-ups do when someone lies." He laughed once, sharp. "Grown-ups." Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and went still. A name flashed. Serena. He didn't answer. That was new. He usually answered everything. Control is his religion. The call died. A message preview popped up. "You said you'd handle it. I'm not going down for you." The air in the room changed. The lie stopped being his private skill and became a shared liability. Grant swallowed. "Give me my packet," he said, voice tight. "I'm not taking your rights," I replied. "I'm preventing you from taking mine." He turned toward the door like he might leave, then stopped. His shoulders sagged half an inch. For the first time all week, he looked like someone who'd miscalculated. "I can fix this," he said. "No," I answered. "You can explain it, on paper, in court, with your lawyer." A knock sounded again, this time not at our door but from Grant's phone. Another call, another buzz, the city closing in through a screen. He backed toward the hallway, grabbing his coat, eyes flicking to the envelope on the counter like it might bite him. At the threshold, he turned. "If you do this," he said, "you'll regret it." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't move. "I already regretted trusting you," I said. "This is just the paperwork catching up." He left. The lock clicked. My knees went weak after the door shut, late like my body waited for permission. I sat on the edge of the couch, breathed through the tightness, and opened my notes app. One line. Serena threatens. He hesitates. Pattern confirmed. Then my attorney's number lit up my screen. "Evelyn," she said. "We just got something. Your husband's company counsel called. They want an emergency call tonight," she added, "and they are convening the risk committee, Monday morning, not a courtesy meeting, an evidence meeting." And before I could answer, a new email hit my inbox. Subject: Notice of Internal Review, Hale Capital Partners. The internal review notice was already in my inbox. I stared at it until my eyes stopped trying to blur the words into something softer. My apartment smelled like cold air from the hallway and the faint citrus cleaner Luis uses on the lobby desk. Ordinary smells, in a life that had quietly turned into exhibits. I didn't confront, I documented. I forwarded the email through my attorney's secure link without opening it on my work device. Then I opened it on my personal laptop, in a private window, like I was handling a contaminant. The message was short, clinical. Hale Capital Partners had initiated an internal review regarding vendor payments and expense authorizations. All relevant personnel were instructed to preserve documents and refrain from altering records. A compliance liaison would be assigned, and it didn't stop at a memo. Effective immediately, all vendor payments to Vail PR LLC were placed on compliance hold. Their vendor profile was frozen. No new invoices processed, no new statements accepted, no new payees created. Outside counsel was copied on every thread, and Vail PR was instructed to preserve emails, calendars, and expense backup. Grant's world tightened too. His approval authority was suspended. His access to the payments portal flipped to read-only. His corporate card was temporarily disabled pending review, and the firm scheduled an emergency risk committee call. I read it twice. The word that mattered wasn't review, it was preserve. That word meant someone else had noticed the trail. That word meant Grant wasn't the only one trying to control the narrative anymore. My phone rang. My attorney. "They're feeling it," she said. "His company counsel called. They want an emergency call tonight." "I don't do emergency calls without an agenda," I replied. "Good," she said. "We're not discussing feelings, we're discussing exposure." She patched me into a three-way line. A man introduced himself as outside counsel for Hale Capital Partners. His voice was smooth, neutral, expensive. "Miss Mercer," he said, "we understand there may be a personal dispute impacting corporate operations." Personal dispute. The phrase landed like a downgrade. I kept my voice flat. "I have court documents and vendor contracts bearing my husband's signature. Those are not personal." A pause. The smallest pause, but it was there. He cleared his throat. "We're conducting an internal review of payments to Vail PR LLC. We need to understand whether any accounts were accessed improperly." My pulse spiked once, then everything in me went quiet and precise. This was the moment Grant always feared. Someone asking questions he couldn't charm away. "I did not access corporate accounts," I said. "I documented items in my possession and routed preservation requests through counsel. Any banking controls I changed were on joint personal accounts I am authorized to manage." Clean, simple, non-negotiable. He asked for dates. I gave dates. He asked for what I had. I answered with categories, not confessions. "Receipts," I said. "A vendor invoice sent to my email. A signed contract naming Miami Beach. Building access logs preserved by management at counsel's request. Bank alerts showing attempted new payee additions from a new device." He went quiet again, processing the fact that I wasn't a wounded spouse. I was a timeline. "I see," he said. Then he tried the lever. "Miss Mercer," he said, "if your husband's actions created corporate exposure, the firm may seek to contain damage quickly. Sometimes that includes confidential settlements, non-disclosure, cooperation." He wanted me to disappear. The pain hit like heat behind my eyes. Not tears, heat. The old familiar ache of being asked to make myself smaller so a man could stay large. I inhaled slowly. "I'm not your problem," I said. "And I'm not your solution. I'm a witness." My attorney made a soft sound, approval disguised as professionalism. Outside counsel paused. "Understood," he said carefully. "If we send a preservation notice to your building and to Vail PR, would you object?" "No," I said. "I'd welcome it." Because that meant Serena couldn't scrub her inbox clean and call it self-care. The call ended. I sat still for a moment, listening to the dead air after the line disconnected. My body wanted to collapse. My mind wanted a checklist. I got up and went to my closet. Not for comfort, for strategy. I pulled a small lockbox from the back shelf. One I'd used when my first husband was sick, when the world became paperwork and grief and I had to be the adult in every room. I lined up the clear sleeves, the card, the receipts, the access log photo, the FedEx envelope still sealed, the printed court order, the contract. My hands shook for the first time all week, not from fear, from the simple, brutal fact that I was filing my marriage away. I pressed my palms against the edge of the dresser until the shaking stopped. Then my phone buzzed. A new email, different sender. Subject, preservation notice, Val PR LLC. And underneath it, a text from an unknown number. "He told me you'd stay quiet. Don't make him a liar." I stared at the sentence until it felt like a hand on my throat. Then I did something I hadn't done yet. I replied. One word. Noted. And immediately, my attorney's secure link notification popped up. New document uploaded. Subpoena draft. The subpoena draft looked like a skeleton, clean lines, empty spaces waiting for names, dates, and truth to hang on them. By close of business, Vail PR's vendor profile at Hale Capital Partners was frozen. No invoices processed. No new statements accepted. Their retainer was placed in dispute and routed to outside counsel. Serena's name didn't just sit on a document anymore. It landed in a compliance queue with a case number. My attorney sent it with one note: "We're moving. No contact outside counsel. No more replies." I stared at the word moving like it meant relief. It didn't. It meant momentum. And momentum means you can't pretend anymore. No shouting, no pleading, only records. By morning, the city was bright and indifferent. I walked to my attorney's office with my coat buttoned high, the lockbox heavy in my bag like a second spine. Each step felt normal, my insides didn't. Inside the conference room, my attorney slid a packet across the table. Final versions now, not drafts. Subpoena requests to Val PR LLC fee for emails, invoices, calendar holds, travel receipts. Preservation demand to Hale Capital Partners accounting platform. A request for device logs tied to the new iPhone attempts. "This is how you win," she said. "Not with speeches, with compliance." The word compliance used to feel like my job. Today, it felt like armor. I signed where she pointed, steady signature, steady dates, then watched her send the documents into the world like paper planes with blades. "Service will go out today," she said. "Expect reaction." On the walk back, my phone buzzed twice. First, an unknown number. "Can we talk?" "Just us. I can explain." Second, Grant. I didn't answer either. At noon, I got a calendar invite from Hale Capital Partners. Internal review interview. 2:30 p.m. Compliance liaison. Copied. Outside counsel. Accounting. Board risk chair. They were moving faster than I expected. That should have scared me. Instead, it made something inside me unclench. If the firm was involved, Grant couldn't bury this under a work trip. He couldn't charm a judge and an audit trail at the same time. At 2:28, I sat in a quiet room with a man named Charles, who introduced himself as the firm's compliance liaison. He didn't smile. I liked him immediately. "Miss Mercer," he said, "this interview is voluntary. Our focus is corporate exposure, not your marriage." "My marriage became corporate exposure," I said. He nodded. "That's why we're here." He asked questions like a scalpel. Dates, amounts, authorization pathways. He asked whether I had ever approved vendor payments for Vail PR. I told the truth. "I changed controls on joint personal accounts after a verified new device attempt," I said. "I did not approve the $48,000 wire. I requested documentation. Your counsel now has the contract and invoice." Charles's pen moved without drama. He asked about the FedEx envelope. "It remains sealed," I said. "Logged by my building. Preserved." "Good," he replied. "Do not open it." The room stayed cool until he asked one question that made my stomach tighten. "Did Mr. Hale ever instruct you to clear approvals while he was traveling?" "Yes." I felt the humiliation flare, his voice, warm and casual, asking me to become part of his mess without knowing it. "I have that call logged," I said. "I can provide the time." Charles nodded once. "We may request it through counsel." When I left, my hands were steady. My ribs weren't. Outside, Manhattan kept moving, people with lattes, dogs in sweaters, a woman laughing into her phone like the world didn't have subpoenas. For a second, I hated her. Then I envied her. Then I let it go. Emotions are weather. Records are architecture. At 4:06 p.m. my attorney texted. Val PR responded. "They're asking for a call." At 4:09 another message came in, this time from Serena's email address, not an unknown number. Subject, noted body. "He told me you'd protect him. If you don't, he'll destroy both of us." I stared at the sentence until it stopped being a threat and started being a confession. Serena wasn't writing like someone in love. She was writing like someone trapped. My mind flashed through the contract line item, travel accompaniment, client confidential, and the way Grant's voice had sounded in the hallway, thin when he said, "confidential." I didn't reply. I forwarded it through the secure link. Labeled it, "Potential coercion." Then my phone buzzed with a bank alert. "Court order update. Hold placed, pending hearing." I exhaled. Slow. Not relief. Not yet. But the satisfaction of watching a man who built his life on leverage meet something he couldn't negotiate with. Paper. And time. 2 weeks later, the city felt quieter. Not because Manhattan ever lowers its volume, but because my life finally stopped vibrating like a phone left on a table. The hearing didn't give me a dramatic moment. It gave me something better. Structure. The hold stayed in place. Timelines were entered into the record. People who used to smile at Grant in conference rooms started speaking to him through counsel. His badge still opened our building door. It stopped opening his office after hours. His corporate card stopped working. The firm called it a temporary safeguard. He called it sabotage. I didn't watch him fall. I watched the ground get level again. The first night I slept all the way through, I woke up almost angry, like my body had betrayed me by resting after everything. Then I realized that's what healing is here. Not a speech, not forgiveness, just the quiet return of normal. I moved the lockbox back to the closet. I didn't throw it away. I'm not that kind of sentimental. But I stopped opening it like a ritual. On Sunday morning, I walked through Central Park with a coffee I bought for myself, not for a husband who'd already left the apartment. The air was sharp and clean. A little boy tried to teach a corgi to sit. A woman laughed at something small and true. I stood there longer than I needed to, letting ordinary life reintroduce itself. If there's a moral in this, it's not trust no one. It's simpler. When someone makes you feel crazy, don't scream back, document. The truth doesn't need volume, it needs a paper trail. And one more thing, there's still a detail you haven't seen yet. Because the next time I looked at that midnight receipt, the one everyone assumes is just shame and foil, I noticed the store name. Not just Midtown Pharmacy, the exact location. And that name? It doesn't point to Boston. It points straight to where he really went, before Miami ever happened. I'll show you. Soon.